So what did you think of Spider-Man No Way Home?
Anyway, Spider-Man: No Way Home. I thought it was a very good film. Actually, I really liked. I mean, kind of as we were saying before about comedy, I liked the whole like dynamic between Tobey Maguire,
Spoilers, by the
uh,
way.
Tobey Maguire, Tom Holland, and Andrew Garfield. I thought the whole interaction was great because they were as three Spider Men. They were talking about the things that we as fans were wondering about their different genres. For instance, I think Andrew Garfield was like asking Tobey Maguire, like, "So where do your webs come from, and does it shoot out from any other place?"
One of
And
one of the two predictions that I made, there was going to be a cum joke. There it was. The
and
other one sort of was right. It was,
and
if you kind of stretch, it's it's kind of true.
and I really like Tobey Maguire's response of like, "Well, I've never really looked into it."
And he's
Like,
like,
because I feel like
I don't do breathing.
exactly, yeah, totally. I don't. I mean, okay,
Yeah, I
but
love seeing them on screen
however,
together. It really shows like their individual personalities because like seeing them on their own, it's like yeah, whatever. It's just another Peter Parker. But like seeing them
mhm,
together, it really like highlights their individual personalities, and I like their dynamic together. I like how Andrew
definitely.
Garfield was like, "Oh, I always wanted brothers."
Oh yeah, man. I liked how
And
Andrew
seeing him get a
Garfield kind of
second
like.
chance
I like.
as Spider-Man is great.
I agree with you, and I like how Andrew Garfield, his character was kind of written to be like not a sorry letter to the fans, but kind of like a I know my guy wasn't the best guy.
He well he was great as an actor, and
Oh,
his version of
totally.
the character was pretty good. I've okay, look, a lot of people now are saying, "Oh yeah, we need another Amazing Spider-Man movie. He was such a good Spider-Man looking back on it." But like before the movie came out, they were like, "Oh, those movies are terrible. Is the worst Spider-Man." I
And
always thought
really,
he was pretty good.
I feel like
Not to
Andrew
toot my own
Garfield.
horn, not to virtue signal.
Mhm,
I'm not a fair weather fan of Andrew Garfield.
mhm. I feel like Andrew Garfield really fell under the curse of Hayden Christensen, where it's like you're not a bad actor. It's just the script was shit.
Exactly.
Exactly. And so, I feel like he was a good Spider-Man, and I feel like his character was written to be like a medium for the directors to be like, "Hey, I'm sorry we let you down." But like
Yeah.
also, he's a good actor. He's a cool dude. We've written this to make you understand that it's not him, it's us.
It's a better showcase of who he is.
Oh,
Um
definitely.
by the way, there was a
Definitely.
moment I we didn't actually get to this the first time we recorded this, but the one part where they're all like in the lab together and Andrew Garfield's like, "Oh, no big deal." And you were like, "Is that a
Yeah.
reference to something?" Cuz it
What
kind
is
of like
that?
stood out. Like
I
it was
still am
supposed
in
to
the
be a
dark.
joke, but like you didn't get it.
Yeah. I didn't at all.
It's sort of a meta reference. So in 2014, you know how there were those Sony email leaks?
Yeah.
So a lot of emails that leaked were the producers at Sony talking to each other about like ideas for the Amazing Spider-Man 2, and it's just the most out of touch boomer shit. Like like, the kids today are into parkour. Maybe we can work that in somehow. And a
Oh,
lot of
Jesus.
influencers on social media are saying hashtag NBD, parentheses, no big deal. Maybe we can work this in with the character because for him, it really is NBD. Let me get some exact quotes from because we these emails are gold.
So that's where the no big deal came from.
Yeah. Let's see.
Because they were expecting him to say, like, oh, no big deal. And the audience would be like, oh my God, I say that all the time.
Yeah, yeah, it is very like it does show how out of touch the Sony execs are cuz cuz it's like the kids like parkour and Instagram.
Well,
And
this is
oh,
a like
and EDM. The kids like EDM parentheses electronic dance music. That's why electro that's why like EDM is so like shoehorned in with him because the Sony
well,
execs wanted to appeal to the youths.
yeah, yeah, and I feel like this is a really good like this movie is a really good example of how one genre's trash is another genre's treasure. Where it's Andrew Garfield was given a shitty script and had a lot of like really boomer
And by the way,
logic
the
and
first Amazing Spider-Man movie is not bad. Like it's not a bad movie. It's not the best, but it's not bad. The second one, it's it's kind of a dumpster fire. There's some good elements to it, I guess, but not not great. The first one though, pretty solid. Um, there's this guy on YouTube. He's more popular on TikTok. On TikTok, he's at Zero Wolf, and the wolf has two L's. On YouTube, he's Keen the Bean. This will be in the description. But he has done a few different videos talking about the Amazing Spider-Man and how it's like actually good, and he breaks down like what it does well. Um, so yeah, go check that out. But yeah, I just wanted to say that.
yeah, but I feel like the things that the fans disagreed with the Andrew Garfield genre of Spider-Man really really showed I guess a sort of like understanding in this film and what is it, No Way Home?
Yeah,
Okay, I'm bad with names. Sorry to the audience. So the things that didn't really work with Andrew Garfield's genre were able to really show their light in this one as like, hey, I know he said that, and I know it's really out of place. Sorry about that. We understand that's not like we understand that's not very like hip as shown by the reactions of Tom Holland and Toby Maguire because they're like, okay, no big deal. All right, yeah,
yeah. It
yeah.
it does also like that line does also serve the purpose of like conveying like he's been there before. Like he has already cured the lizard.
Oh,
Like that
totally.
was
He's
a
like, oh
big
yeah, I
part
did
of the
that.
first Amazing Spider-Man movie. Where it's
Totally.
like, how are we going to possibly cure these guys? This is such a monumental obstacle before us. And then he's like, I literally did this like 5 years ago.
I did
Like this is like
this
the
a while
first
ago.
thing that I did as Spider-Man.
I already did this, no big deal. And they were like, okay. And he's like, yeah, no big deal. They're like, all right.
And it
Yeah,
is
no.
like I think it's like the one time he gets to like flex on the other Spider-Man cuz in the other scenes he's like, "Oh, I want to fight an alien. All I fought was a guy in a mechanical rhino suit. I want to fight an alien. I want to go to space. I want to be on a team."
hmm
And he's
I
like,
mean, and
"Oh yeah, no big deal. I cured this guy."
Definitely Tom Holland gets the brunt of the acclaim because he was a part of the Avengers, and that's a big
That
situation.
was a funny moment. And
Oh yeah.
Toby's being just so supportive. Like, "Oh, that's incredible.
Oh, I
What
love
is
that
that?"
part. Like, I love Toby because he's like, he's not.
They
It's
are
clear
all
that
very in character.
his character isn't meant to put people down, or to like even in any slight like unmeant sort of thing equal like I don't know what the Avengers are, and therefore you're not good. He was like, wow, that's awesome. I'm so proud of you.
He
But
just wants to be a nice boy.
he's trying to like, be nice and be like, hey, we're actually here to do a job together. Let's figure it out. You're a part of the Avengers. I assume because you're bringing it up that it's a big deal. So, wow, you're part of the Avengers. What is that? I just love that part. That was pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought the cameos and everything were done very tastefully. Like Toby and Andrew being in it. It's not overdone, it's not underdone, and they are all very in character. Like it is very consistent with their other appearances. And they don't overshadow Tom Holland Spider-Man. They don't it doesn't feel like there's not enough of them. And same with like Doctor Strange and Daredevil, who also shows up. Matt Murdock is Peter's lawyer, which yeah makes sense. He would be Peter's lawyer. I think it's happened in the comics before. He's defended a lot of superheroes in court. His cameo isn't really overstated, and all he does is really like be Peter's legal counsel. He's not there to like take down the multiversal threat. Like that's not really his wheelhouse. So he, that's handled pretty
Can,
well. Like
um, can I
keeping
bring up
it
my
keeping it to his scope.
yeah? Can I bring up my one issue with the plot though?
Sure.
So, all the Avengers know of Spider-Man. They know that he's a part of the Avengers, but they also know each other's alter egos. Am I correct on that?
Yeah.
So,
And
with
keep
that
in mind,
said,
a lot of the Avengers like aren't around anymore.
what do you mean?
Well, Iron
Like,
Man's dead. Captain America's old as shit. Black Widow's dead. Hawkeye is trying
is
desperately
she
to
dead?
retire.
Wait, no, she didn't. She's not dead. Dead. Is she dead? Dead?
Black Widow is dead.
Oh no.
If you die for the Soul Stone, you die.
Shit.
So yeah, Iron Man dead. Captain America old as shit. Black Widow dead. Hawkeye desperately trying to retire. Thor, he fucked off with the Guardians. Hulk, he is just trying to live his best life.
Just
He's
sad that his
he
only
was
love
in
is
the
dead.
She-Hulk trailer. He
Oh
was in the
man.
She-Hulk trailer. I don't know if he's back to being Bruce Banner permanently or what, but he cameoed in Shang-Chi as Bruce Banner, not as like Hulk or Smart Hulk or anything.
Oh, that
So
hurts my heart.
that's the whole
Ah,
original team.
because I was so totally with like Bruce Banner and fucking Black Widow. Ah, ah,
I would have liked to see that developed. It was kind of
ah,
weird how it was just
my
like
heart.
not committed to at all. It started and ended with that movie.
Oh, my heart. Oh, I loved it. Oh, I loved that part. Oh, damn. Anyway, so
So yeah,
that one
the
issue,
original team, they're mostly out of commission.
but there has
Then
to be a
there's the new
database. Hold
guys.
up.
There's
There
sort
has,
of like a new Avengers team being formed, sort of,
but there,
with like some of the Eternals,
but.
maybe Shang-Chi, Black Panther, whatever they do with that, because obviously Chadwick Boseman died, and the the girl that played Shuri is like an anti-vaxxer, so she might not be able to be in movies. I don't know what they're doing with that, but Kate Bishop is going to be the new Hawkeye. She's definitely going to be in the new Avengers or Young Avengers, whatever they do. So yeah, Spider-Man would just be he'll work
Kind
with
of
whoever
there.
will work with them.
Uh,
But
but
anyway, what were you saying
yeah,
before I went
so
off
my
on
only
that?
issue there is that, like, for instance, Doctor Strange, he knows all the Avengers and all their alter egos, and if he doesn't know, he can find out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so he casts a spell. Spoilers. He casts a spell at the end of the movie that makes everyone forget who Spider-Man is.
Everyone forgets who Peter Parker is.
Everyone forgets. I mean, I'd say that in the terms that like everyone knows who Spider-Man is in this universe,
Everyone knows who
and
Spider-Man is. No one knows Peter Parker.
exactly, but everyone knows that Spider-Man is Peter Parker. Is my point.
No, they don't know who Spider-Man is.
Exactly. Well, that's what I'm trying to say. Is like before the spell, they knew who Spider-Man is. After
Yeah.
the spell, they don't know who Spider-Man is. Right? Everyone that Peter Parker has come to know, love, and trust. And so, my whole thing is, well, there has to be a data, like, because that is just memory. It's not just like every hard drive on every computer. There has to be a computer somewhere in fucking Avengers headquarters that's like, oh,
Somewhere in
hey,
the
by the
blockchain.
somewhere in the blockchain that's like, hey, by the way, Spider-Man, his identity is Peter Parker. This is top secret information, right? So, with that said, like, also, like, Captain Strange, Doctor Strange has to remember like the whole fight with Thanos, right? And Spider-Man was instrumental in that. In fact, he was dusted and then he came back in the final fight.
He would just
So
remember. He would just remember Spider-Man being there. He
yeah,
wouldn't
yeah.
remember
He
Peter
remember
Parker
this. He
being there.
remember, hey, Spider-Man's there. Hey, that's cool. But he also knows Spider-Man as a kid, as Peter Parker, right? So he goes, oh,
Well, he wouldn't
there's that
remember
Spider.
after the spell.
Yeah. But there's the thing though. There's the weird thing, right? He knows every single Avenger, both on their hero aspect and on their interpersonal aspect, and as they are as people, right? And then suddenly he's searching through his memory and he's like, but what about that Spider-Man dude? What the fuck's up with him? He goes, man, I just remember Spider-Man, but I don't remember the guy. I don't remember the dude without the suit. And then he goes, this seems a little suspicious. Why don't I remember I would, being Doctor Strange, being the guy who calculated that this is the only way out of this Thanos trap, I would know who Spider-Man is. Obviously, I would know that. And he would be like, huh, let me go through my spell book and see if I've done any spells recently. Oh, yeah, I did a mind erasing spell. And seeing as there was most likely people filming the whole spell where he erased everyone's memory of who Peter Parker or who Spider-Man is or who Peter Parker is, like,
Well, keep in mind that
he
relies
would
on him like caring enough to think back on it.
exactly. But like, given that there was enough people, like they were like, oh, look at those rips in the universe. Let me take out my iPhone and take a couple pictures.
Yeah, you got to
You know,
assume. It's like I said before. You got to assume that it just like deletes any footprint or any evidence of whatever you're trying to make everyone
well,
forget.
okay, but in that case, then Peter Parker in every single country is an illegal alien.
It's best not to think about it.
You know what? Fuck you. Oh, I hate this. I'm not okay. I don't hate it. It's just like, come on, man. Like, I get okay. I can put a certain amount of like, okay, maybe also Doctor Strange put a whole thing of like, oh, also I won't think about this in the future, and no one will think about this in the future.
He probably does this so often that it's like routine. Because it's like he was when
Oh,
he was talking to Wong about it, he was like, "Remember that the party at Kamertage?" And he's like, "No." And he's like, "Exactly."
yeah. But my point is that
So this is
like
probably a
Spider-Man,
common occurrence for him.
yeah. But my point is that like Spider-Man is so associated with so many different things that know who that you can get to a base person in that just erasing him would be like, okay, we got rid of these weeds for now, but they'll grow back.
Yeah,
You know?
it's best not to think
Um,
about it.
okay, let's not think about it. That's my only
Well,
issue with the
I would
movie.
rather it be the way it is. Like it serves its function in the narrative. It tells a good story, and I would rather it not be over explained. Because if they tried to like explain every aspect of it, then it just brings up more questions. But if you just fill it in, mentally fill in the blanks with whatever makes sense to you,
Hmm.
you can sleep at night at least.
Okay, and I can
And
respect that.
it's like it's magic. You know, how does any of it
You know,
work?
okay, this is Marvel. It's not fucking Harry Potter.
I mean, Marvel can get pretty weird. At times, it might
Oh,
as well be Harry Potter.
okay,
Did you know that the
I'll take
story,
your word
by the
for
way,
it.
I explained Mephisto earlier in this episode in real time 3 days ago. I explained Mephisto, and he's basically like the devil in Marvel Comics.
Hmm.
So the story that this is loosely based on is called One More Day, and it is a story where Peter makes a deal with the devil in exchange for his marriage to Mary Jane Watson. He gets his anonymity back and he gets Aunt May back because Aunt May was shot after Peter Parker's identity was revealed to the public. He makes a deal with the devil, and the devil wants his marriage for some reason. Marvel gets
So
weird.
the devil wants to marry Mary Jane.
No, he just wants their marriage to not happen anymore. He wants them to like not ever have been married. And it's sort of
Oh,
like resets the timeline a little bit.
I mean,
Really, it's
then
because
it's
the
just
writers didn't know how to write Spider-Man with like a marriage and a child and like living a happy life. So they just wanted to take him back to like the old status quo. But yeah, in universe, that's what happened. He made a deal with the devil, and the devil
hmm.
wanted him to be single and ready to mingle. That's Marvel.
All right. I'll take your word for it.
So, anyway, moving on, more aspects about the movie. So what did you think about the villains? Because I thought a couple of them were handled pretty well. A couple of them were not handled very well at all.
Well, I liked how they really deceived not only the character, like not only the Spider-Man, but the audience in thinking that maybe the Green Goblin would be a nice guy.
I
Um,
I may be gullible because the same thing happened with Mysterio when I watched Far From Home, another movie that you definitely saw, right?
oh, I
Um,
definitely saw that. Yeah, the character
the whole
development
time
was
I was like,
exquisite.
please just let Mysterio be a good guy this time. But then, of course, it's all an illusion because he's the master of illusion. That's his like whole brand. But yeah, the whole time in Far From Home, I was like, oh, he's being such a nice guy. I just want this to be genuine. I just want someone on Peter's side. And then the twist happens that everyone saw coming, but I still was devastated. And just like with this, and by the way, partly because of Willem Dafoe's performance, I believe that this was just Norman Osborn wanting help, which it was for a while until the Goblin was like, I'm going to kill people.
Yeah, I mean, really, uh, it was Norman Osborn being like, hey, I actually want to help you because I'm Norman Osborn and I'm not actually a monster. Meanwhile, the Green Goblin is just gathering information.
Yeah, and at one point when they were designing the chip for Doc Ock, I think this was when like some people were walking in front of us in the theater, but and so you didn't hear it. But yeah, Norman was like, "Hey, look, when this is all over, you like, do you want a job? You know, if you want
Really?
to commute across universes." And it's like
Really?
yeah, he was like, "Do you want a job at Oscorp when this is all over?"
Wow.
And
Wow,
it's like
man.
a
That's
nice Norman Osborn having good
yeah, like
interactions. You love to see it until he kills Aunt May.
oh
Spoiler alert.
fuck. And seeing that scene at the end near the end of the movie where I think it was fucking what's his face? Spider-Man, but the Avenger Spider-Man, Tom Holland was
Tom
beating
Holland.
up was beating up Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin, and he's just going and going and fucking going at him, and obviously the Green Goblin's fucking out for the count, and he's just trying to keep his back straight and fucking he's just going and going and going, and then the two other Spider-Men look at each other and go, almost like, are we gonna do something about this? Like, we don't kill people. We don't kill anyone. We're here to try to cure them,
Well, Andrew
not kill them.
Garfield probably killed people between The Amazing Spider Man 2 and this movie because he was like, I stopped pulling my punches. I got violent. I got vengeful. So for him, it was
Yeah,
probably more like, oh my God, I've been down this road
but
before.
nothing in canon, right?
Well, nothing that we've seen, but he said in the movie after Gwen died, he was like, I got angry, I got vengeful, I stopped
Hmm.
pulling my punches. And when Spider Man doesn't pull his punches, people die.
Yeah, yeah, I get that, but it's not in canon yet, so it's better not
Well,
to
it's
think about
it's
it,
hinted
Alex.
at, but we
It's
just
better
haven't
not to
seen
think
it
about it,
yet.
Alex. It's better not to think about it, Alex. It's better not to think about it, Alex. How does that feel?
Well, when you say it like that, it feels very not nice,
Like an itch that hasn't been scratched, right, Alex?
I suppose.
That's what I was expecting to hear. All right, now you understand my issue. um, but yeah, no, I just love that like interaction of like, hey man, like let's do something about this because he's obviously hurting and we need to intervene in this because we're not going to let this. And I'd like that kind of outsider perspective of like both Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire know what's up, and they're like, okay, we've
Yeah,
been through
because
this,
they've
and we need
both
to
sort
handle
of been there
this
before.
exactly. And it's not a look of like, oh shit, we need to handle this. It's a look of like, we need to handle this delicately with grace, with respect toward both sides, and be like, hey, look at you have done your job. He is in a susceptible position to be given his cure. That's our job. We're gonna do it. And then and then Tobey Maguire gets stabbed. But anyway, um,
Which is sort of one of my predictions. My other prediction was that the other two Spider-Men would show up, but one of them, probably Tobey Maguire, was gonna die because like one of the villains just like brought a gun to the battle. He didn't die, he was stabbed, but I still got the spirit of it.
and I love how like because like Marvel didn't want to break our hearts completely. I like how they still
Oh yeah,
saved
I've
Tobey
been stabbed
Maguire.
before.
Like it's like we're all like, oh no, don't kill Tobey Maguire. God fucking damn it, don't kill Tobey Maguire. And then he gets up with the help of Andrew Garfield, and Andrew Garfield's like, "You good?" He's like, "Yeah, I've been stabbed before. It's good. We're fine. We did the job. We're good." And he goes,
You're
"But
in
like, are you
so much
okay?
pain right now, aren't you?
You're in so much pain right now, aren't you?" And he goes, "Oh, so much."
Yeah, that's a fun little moment. I like that.
Oh, love it. And like, I feel like they both know after Doctor Strange does his spell, like they're gonna go back to the universes like nothing happened.
Yeah, it would be really nice because well, like I said before, a lot of people are now saying Andrew Garfield deserves another shot at being Spider-Man. I agree. I hope they do it. I hope they give him another movie. I would. This is just an opinion that I have about superhero storytelling as a whole, but I would love a Spider-Man TV series as opposed to movies because I think that seasons of television are a lot better at telling this kind of story than movies. The Hawkeye show is a great example. Each episode sort of feels like an issue of a comic run, whereas if you just have a movie, it's not the same. You can't tell the same kind of story. And
Yeah.
Spider-Man, I think, lends itself very well to this sort of episodic storytelling. But I would love to see
hmm
a continuation of Andrew Garfield's story, whether it's in a movie or a TV series. And I would love to see Tobey Maguire's story continued. I know there were leaks for Spider-Man 4. There was like some concept art and there were some storyboards that were released a little bit ago showing some ideas that they had for the movie. If they don't do that, I would love to see just something continuing his character, but I would love to see just stories featuring each of their reactions to this happening because they all have got to have like unique reactions to this. Like Tom Holland moving forward at the end of the movie, you see he's like on his own. He has this like shitty apartment. He has no more connections and he has to move forward with the knowledge that he's gained. I would love to see the same thing with Tobey Maguire moving forward, being inspired, reinvigorated as Spider-Man by seeing these other versions of himself. Andrew Garfield, I would love to see him moving forward, like reinvigorated as Spider-Man, but also making more room for being Peter Parker. Because
I get
like
your point there.
that would be a really good thing to see explored.
I get your
Their
point
different
there.
reactions.
I just think that it would be too much surface area for that genre. Like
Maybe
I
it would
get
be at least a decent tie-in comic.
I mean at least okay, yeah, at least like
Marvel
as a
used to put
comic.
out prelude comics before each new movie. They did them from like around 2014 to 2018 ish. They did different comics for the different movies coming out, sort of as like setups for the plot of the movies. It would be cool if they did a tie-in comic like that with the other two Spider-Men. At the very least, I would like to see that.
Mhm. I feel like doing a whole Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield like spin-off thing would be too much surface area the for the characters, at least cinematically. I think as a comic book, it could work. I think the best bet is to stick with Tom Holland
Oh
as
yeah, Tom Holland is
Spider-Man.
definitely going to be the main Spider-Man, but I would love to see just some spin-off material with at least Andrew Garfield.
Yeah, I could see that. And
And I'm sure Andrew
frankly,
Garfield would love to return because he loves the character. He loved
yeah,
playing him on screen. He's a big fan of the character. And he
but
was
also,
shafted. He was shafted in those movies.
but frankly, I think if there was going to be any movie released about Spider-Man, uh, excuse me, sorry, I'm yawning. Ugh. If there were to be any movie released about Spider-Man that wasn't Tom Holland, people would want it to be Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
I don't know. I've seen a lot of support for Andrew Garfield lately. The
But
the general the general
I feel
attitude is
like
that he was um he was treated unfairly with how he was
I,
unceremoniously fired after being put in you know uh the Amazing Spider-Man 2, which was a bad movie, and the Amazing Spider-Man, which you know uh, even if you like the movies, you got to agree that the studio just is they were very bad, especially at the time. Like what we said with the email leaks, like what if we had him do parkour and say NBD?
I see your point, kind of.
And
Yeah,
yeah, the general attitude is that he deserves a second chance.
agree to disagree.
You disagree what, that he deserves a second chance, or that the general
On the
attitude is that he
silver
deserves a second
screen,
chance?
like on the silver screen, I think he doesn't deserve a second chance because I mean, the writers have already failed him, and I think now the genre has moved on to Tom Holland, and our hearts really lie with Tobey Maguire as Spider Man. So I feel like Andrew Garfield really is this like kind of shallow middle ground between Tobey Maguire and Tom Holland that not enough people would be willing to invest in.
No, I don't think he's a shallow middle ground. He is very much his own character. Um, he is unique. Have you seen the Amazing Spider-Man movies?
I think I saw one. Um, and then I vomited profusely at like how terrible it was.
Okay. Well, speaking as an expert on the matter, um,
Oh yeah,
he was a really
yes.
good Peter Parker. He was a really good Spider-Man. And as someone who is more plugged into the internet, I have seen a lot of support for him as an actor and as a Spider-Man actor. And it seems like a lot of people would be on board with seeing his character continued.
Okay. Everyone, you've heard both opinions. One correct, obviously, and one incorrect, obviously. Make your
Mine's the
decision.
correct one, right?
I plead the fifth. I feel like the correct voice is the one that's speaking right now. And
Yeah, that's me. I'm speaking right now.
I'm speaking actually
So,
right
audience,
now.
tweet at us. Tweet, I guess, at me because Twitter, or Gavin doesn't have Twitter, but tweet at the show. Hashtag Andrew deserved better as Spider Man and as Peter Parker, and he's a pretty good actor, as he has demonstrated in all of his roles, even the ones where his character was written poorly. He still made the best of it, and I think he deserves another shot at the character that he loves and that we all love. Um, and Sony, make it happen. And if you disagree with that, you tweet out hashtag I side with Gavin, who is wrong. And I hate Andrew Garfield personally, and I want him to know that. Um, and don't cast him in anything ever again, and retroactively remove his name from anything that he has ever been in. Um, and so yeah, tweet one of those two hashtags, and whichever side gets more support, If I win, um, I will be happy, and if Gavin wins, what are your terms, Gavin?
If if you win, Alex, I'll just, fuck it, I'll kill myself. If I win,
And if you win,
Oh, that got me. That was a good one, wasn't it? Um, if I win, I'll kill Alex.
all right, that's a deal. All right, tweet out your hashtags.
To anyone who's thinking about hurting themselves or
Don't do it.
perhaps don't do it, man. There are people
Don't
who
do
love
it.
you. Depression, anxiety, whatever you're going through is a disease, and it
Quit it.
reacts to
Just
it.
quit it.
No, it's a disease, and it reacts to treatment. So please seek treatment. And I love you,
I
and
think that
Alex loves you.
anxiety and depression are a mindset, and if you just decide not to have it, then you won't have it.
Okay, Ben Shapiro / classically Abby. I don't know who you're called anymore. Anyway,
All right.
fuck off.
Here's the terms. All right, if I win, I'm the classy one, and Gavin's the trashy one. If Gavin wins, he's the classy one, and I'm the trashy one.
Alex, I'd burn you, but my mom doesn't allow me to burn trash.
Oh, wow. That's a good one. I don't have a
Right?
comeback for that. Let me
Yeah,
think for a
bitch.
second.
Yeah, no, you don't get the luxury.
Shit. All right.
Yeah, you have to be logical like Ben Shapiro.
Let's just say, hypothetically, I'm right. I would be right in that circumstance now, wouldn't I?
Let's just say hypothetically I was correct and infallible. I would be correct and infallible in that circumstance, wouldn't I?
Let's just make up a scenario where everything that I want to be correct is correct. Let's just imagine a world where all of my baseline assumptions are correct. Then the conclusion that I draw from those would be correct because I think so. Take that,
Right.
liberal.
Take that, libtard.
So anyway, 8-bit Christmas is really good.
So good.
Um this is something that we mentioned the first time recording this. So this Tom Holland's Peter Parker, the way that like the whole multiverse plot happens is his friends don't get into college and neither does he because they're associated with him and he's Spider-Man, which is like a crime. So he goes to Doctor Strange, which by the way, I was like laughing out loud in the theater because the way that Tom Holland's Peter Parker is inspired to talk to Doctor Strange is he sees Halloween decorations up and he sees these little like Dracula figures and the cape kind of looks like Doctor Strange's cape. Or they're I guess they're wizards, aren't they?
I thought
He
they were
sees these
ghosts. I thought they were
little
like witches or
wizard
ghosts.
decorations
Yeah.
and the camera like zooms in on them for like just long enough that it's hilarious and he's like, wait a second.
Hmm.
I was laughing out loud at that. But anyway,
Oh, dude, the thing that killed me in like the whole Tom Holland and Doctor Strange thing was when they tried to do the spell the first time, and Doctor Strange is like, "I'm sorry, I can't make it work." I mean, the best you could
oh yeah,
do
I was
is
gonna
hope
get
that
to
the
that.
call. Oh my god, the best you could do
Yeah,
is hope the call that you made to ask them to reconsider works. And he goes, "Wait, you can just call them?" And he goes, "You came to me before you fucking called them."
yep.
And it's
And
funny.
I
It's great. It's great because like Doctor Strange is an actual medical fucking doctor,
yeah.
and he knows how this shit works. And he's like, "You didn't even think about calling them. You didn't.
Yep.
You decided to endanger the history of the universe rather than call the university first."
But the thing
I
is, I
loved that.
fully believe that this Peter Parker would resort to multiverse altering magic before making a phone call. That is the
Yeah.
most Gen Z moment I have ever seen in a movie.
Like, I'm too awkward to talk to someone on the
I
phone,
can
so
I
I'm just
can make
gonna.
the phone call, or I can alter the fabric of reality. One of those sounds a lot more doable than the other.
I think I'll just change reality because I'm just like not good with talking to people on the phone. I get a little awkward, and I'll just I'll just change the universe. It's fine.
Yeah. All right. I have to use the bathroom real quick.
Me
Gavin, take
too.
this moment to reflect
Oh,
on your
I
actions.
have to piss too. Hold on a sec.
Oh, well, then
We'll
take
be
this moment to piss, I guess.
we'll be both right back.
Okay. After these messages from today's sponsor, I don't know about you, but I'm back.
I'm back too.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So at the end of the movie, it's sort of a soft reboot, and I wanted to touch on that. I really love the new costume. I like the fact that Peter makes it himself. It looks good. It looks really classic. I hope that it's like actually real in the next movie, in his next appearance. Because like the issue that I've had with Spider-Man, like one of the issues that I've had with Spider-Man in the MCU is that his suit never feels tangible. You know what I mean?
No, I don't. What do you mean?
Like it doesn't feel like a physical thing that you could reach out and touch. Whereas the other ones, like on set, it's a practical suit. And you can see the difference in the movie where like Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, their suits are like they're actually wearing them. As
Yeah.
opposed to
Okay, I
like
see what you mean.
Tom
Yeah.
Holland who's just wearing a mocap suit.
Hmm.
I really appreciate um, how the other ones like their suits, Toby and Andrew, their suits are like actually real. You can see the fabric and it wrinkles and everything. And yeah, with Tom Holland, even like obviously the Iron Spider suit is all CGI, but even the suits that are actually like cloth suits, even the ones that like he's wearing on set, they still CGI over it, and it
Hmm.
just makes it look less real. And I
I
hope
get you
that they
there.
learn from that in his next appearance, and I hope it's actually like more real.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I'm, of course, a supporter of practical effects.
Hmm.
So anything that kind of leans more toward that, I'm kind of in support of.
Yeah, I do still like the like how his eyes move. Like I like that. Obviously,
Hmm.
they can't really do that practically, so
Yeah,
still use CGI for that. But like, you don't need to CGI over the whole suit.
yeah, I
That's
get you.
just how I feel.
Because
Leave a comment if you agree or disagree. Um,
we know you're listening.
yeah, yeah. Beyond like the surface level stuff at the end of the movie, I like that Peter is actually properly working class. Like he's not like because like I said this before. Um, like he's been he has the aesthetics of being working class, but like the apartment that he lives in just feels too nice to be
Hmm.
like a real New York apartment that a poor family would live in.
Hmm.
And the Raimi movies did it pretty well, where it feels like a realistic depiction of like you know lower middle class people just trying to get by in the big city. Yeah, that's the issue that's a really big issue that Tom Holland's Spider-Man has had, where he's just overshadowed by Iron Man, but also he's overshadowed by the amount of like resources that he has, and in a way, it makes him less resourceful. And I talked about this in my review that I put on my YouTube channel, link in description. But yeah, he just feels like he's been given too much stuff, and you see it like a microcosm of it in No Way Home when the nanotech suit is like absorbed into Doc Ock's tentacles, and the suit AI is like, "Hey, do you want to like pair this new device?" Like it pops up like a pair of AirPods,
Yeah,
you
no,
know?
I like that scene. That's pretty good. He's like,
And
"Oh, I can just pair this.
well, I
Cool. Now
like
I'm
that
in
he
control."
uses it. The issue that I have is
Hmm.
that it's not really Peter doing it. It's the technology doing it, and Peter just goes along with it. Now he does like he does use it, but it's not initially his idea, which I'm not. too on board with. Like, it would be cool if he had the idea of like, hey, I can use this technology to my advantage and I can use it to control his arms, but it just sort of comes up and it happens and then he goes along with it. I just wish he had more agency with it. Like, I don't mind him using technology, but I want him to be more in control.
Aware of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like in Homecoming, he gets the Stark suit
Mhm.
and it has all of these functions that he doesn't understand. Partway through the movie, he learns how to use them, but it's nothing that he built himself and it's nothing that he really had to design. It's nothing that he fully like utilizes until like towards the end or like
Yeah.
more way through the movie,
Yeah. Yeah. I get you.
like a really good example of what Spider-Man should be is, funny enough, Iron Man 3, when Tony is without his suit, he's in the middle of nowhere and he has to take down the Mandarin with just whatever he can find in a hardware store. That's really good. um that's a really good example of what Spider-Man should be.
Hmm.
And so yeah, I have hope for the character moving forward in that aspect. Yeah, I appreciate that in the movie overall, not just like technology wise or whatever, but I appreciate that in this movie Peter Parker exhibits a great deal of agency. Like, he makes decisions that drive the story. It's not the story happening to him and him going along with it.
But a lot of it, I feel, was
Um,
really childish on his part, where it's like, you know, Doctor Strange had a plan, and then Peter kind of fucked it all up.
well, he
And had
fucked
he
it
just
all up
gone,
for a reason.
yeah, but that reason was the continuity of the other movies.
Yeah, well, I respect that Peter like sacrificed a lot and he went against Doctor Strange for the sake of saving these lives, even though he doesn't really have to, and he could easily just let it happen. And it is a very Spider-Man thing to, go against what everyone is saying to save lives.
Yeah, but it was him in a different universe that killed them anyway.
Well, yeah, sort of. But yeah, he sees that these people are gonna die if he doesn't intervene. So he does. And at the end of the day, he does win and he saves these lives. And it's a very in character thing for him to do. But it is him going against what is the easiest route. And I, appreciate that. It shows, a bit of growth as a character. Shows that he, stands by what he believes in enough to
Okay.
like sacrifice the multiverse to
Yeah,
do his way that, doesn't destroy the universe, but also saves these people that were going to die.
I agree.
And yeah, the guy that I mentioned earlier, Zero Wolf on TikTok, Keen the Bean on YouTube, um, he's made some really good points that I've seen in his content about Tobey Maguire's Peter not really having much agency in his movies. Um, and yes, he makes a good point about it, about how he doesn't really make decisions. Like, he's a passive character. He lets things happen to him and he just reacts to what's going on. Um, and yeah, Tom Holland's Peter Parker in this movie, he doesn't, fall into that uh that kind of thing. So yeah, I appreciate the level of agency that is shown in this movie. I just wish there was a bit more of it. Overall, pretty good though.
I would agree. It was a very good movie. I like just
Overall,
the
my thoughts
combination
are
of.
that 8-Bit Christmas was pretty good.
I liked 8-Bit Christmas too.
And I think that's all that I have to say on No Way Home. Uh, Overall, on a scale of best movie ever to worst movie ever, I'd say best movie ever.
I'd say
Comparing
best
it
movie ever too. Yeah.
comparing it to every other movie that has ever been made, this one definitely tops all of them. Just in
Every
terms
single
of
movie
being
except for The
good.
Room.
Oh, except for The Room. Yeah.